The Longhorns are back to square one after a loss to start Big 12 play in Lubbock. Texas Volleyball does the opposite. They start 2-0 in conference play with a close game against Kansas, followed up with a big win against Oklahoma, and it's another week of action across the NFL. All this and more coming up next on College Press Box.
Good evening and welcome into College Press Box. I am your host, Jason Kinander. To my left is fellow Chicago native Tommy Yarrish. We've got a great show for you today. Tommy's going to get us started with what went down in Lubbock on Saturday afternoon.
Well, unfortunately, it's not what everybody wanted to go down in Lubbock, but let's take a look at what happened. And we're going to start in the first quarter where the Texas offense started out hot. It was all the way down in Lubbock territory already. Steve Sarkisian puts three backs in the backfield alongside Hudson Card and finds Kylie Rodriguez in the flat. 35-yard stumbling score. Horns go up by 7. Red Raiders come right back, though, and on 4th and goal, it'll be Donovan Smith on the quarterback keeper from 4 yards out. That's going to even this one up at 7. You see the gap created right there, and he just pushes through the defender into the end zone. 7 points there for Texas Tech, all evened up. Tortillas flying everywhere in Lubbock. Then after a Burt Auburn field goal, they'll continue to fly around as Smith hits Taj Brooks on this nice wheel route here from Zach Kitley for a 19-yard touchdown. Red Raiders take a 14-10 lead. There's Bryce Ramirez, the Tech linebacker, who sadly took a pretty big leg injury last week. Loving it in the crowd. After an interception the drive prior, here's the best play of Hudson Card's career in a Texas uniform. Escapes the pressure and finds Xavier Worthy down the sideline from 39 yards out. Texas retakes the lead 17-14 in the second quarter. Hornets get the ball back on 1st and goal. 30 seconds to go here left in the half, and Bijan Robinson does what he does best. He finds a gap and scores from 8 yards out. The Heisman candidate gives Texas a 2-score lead at the half. Let's head to the second half now in the third quarter. Red Raiders started with a field goal, but here comes 5 again for Texas. He tiptoes down the sideline here, no idea how he kept his balance, but he finds pay dirt for Texas. It's a 40-yard touchdown. That pushes the lead up to 14. But then back comes Texas Tech. It's a 10-play drive. Zach Kitley loves these long drives. Sir Roderick Thompson, 1-yard touchdown. The energy is shifting in Lubbock. Headed to the fourth quarter now. Texas Tech starts this drive in great field position, and they're going to capitalize. Watch Smith find Baylor Cupp here along the near sideline. 19-yard score for the tight end. We're all tied up at 31. Then after another long drive, this one 11 plays for Texas Tech. That resulted in a go-ahead field goal. Texas responds with a 9-second drive. There's the game-tying field goal from Burt Auburn. We're going to overtime. Texas gets the ball to start, but it's going to be a rare fumble from Bijan Robinson, his third in over 700 snaps at Texas, and Tech gets the ball after that. That sets up Trey Wolf for a game-winning 20-yard field goal, and he nails it. Jody McGuire gets a statement win, and Texas Tech picks up their first home win over the Longhorns since the infamous Michael Crabtree touchdown back in 2008. Red Raiders win it 37-34. Longhorns drop to even at 2-2.
Well, Tommy, this game's so crazy that we couldn't just have one football analyst come in to talk about it. We had to bring in 2, Robert Gonsoulin, Justin Goosman. Thank you both for joining me. Justin, we'll start with you. That was a brutal way through and through for Texas to lose that game. What exactly went wrong in the loss, and what can they do to address it going forward?
For the 4th time in Texas's last 11 games, the Longhorns blew a double-digit lead in a loss. And what stands out immediately to me, Jason, is the inability to tackle in the open field and a lack of preparedness on the defensive end. Texas lost the turnover battle 2-0, gave up 6 fourth-down conversions out of 8 total attempts, and they lost the time of possession battle, couldn't convert on opportunities to bring down Donovan Smith in the backfield. And anytime you give up that many fourth-down conversions, it's difficult to keep any type of defensive momentum. Another glaring issue that stood out to me was that Texas didn't seem to be prepared for the up-tempo play. On a multitude of plays throughout the game, there was a miscommunication, and Texas couldn't seem to figure out a way to slow down the Red Raiders' passing attack. Donovan Smith late in the game looked comfortable, calm, and composed as the Red Raiders were able to deliver scoring drive after scoring drive in the second half. Offensively, it just felt like the Longhorns couldn't establish a rhythm in the second half because the defense couldn't get off the field. With no Xavier Worthy, the play calling got predictable at times, and Texas Tech saw that too. Texas leaned on the run, but obviously it would cost them with the late Bijan Robinson fumble that would eventually lose Texas the game. Not a lot of positives to take from this game if you're Texas, but the problems aren't impossible to fix. Texas needs to shorten the rotation on defense if they want to keep up with the up-tempo style, and they have to work on a better way to contain mobile quarterbacks because that's been the Achilles heel all season long. If you can do those two things, it won't be nearly as easy for opponents to convert on those fourth downs.
Containing the quarterback and open field tackling. Couldn't agree with you more, Justin. Now I want to turn it over to Robert. 14-point lead, Texas Blue. That stands out as the biggest lead that they have blown this year, but all the offensive stats show that this was a game that Texas should have won. So what are some of the positive takeaways that you can offer up from Saturday's loss?
Well, Jason, the offense really took an amazing advantage of utilizing their talent. Minus the one interception he threw in the first half, we saw Hudson Card connect 20 passes on 30 attempts and throw for 270 yards. Jordan Whittington had continued to be a force in making big yardage plays that led to first downs. We even saw Xavier Worthy score his first touchdown of the season on a 39-yard bomb. Keelan Robinson stood out on the first drive when he opened up the game with a 30-yard kickoff return and then scored on the 35-yard reception 3 plays later. Yes, fumbles and interceptions happen, and even though they're unacceptable for a team trying to win a football game, Texas's offensive set looked solid. Hudson Card still passed for over 250 yards, and the team worked clock management really well in the final seconds of the game, which helped set up a 48-yard field goal for Burt Auburn. All in all, I would say the passing game stood out the most on Saturday. Even if the running game is very strong in Bijan and Roschon, Texas still needs to work on converting on short yard situations like 2nd and 4 or 3rd and 3. Too many times in the past 3 weeks have we seen the Texas punt team walk out onto the field on 4th down because the offense wasn't able to convert when they needed to. The air attack was a plus, however, for Texas in this game, and fans can be comfortable with it whether or not Card or Ewers will be playing.
Completely agree, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not it'll be Card or Ewers under center this weekend against West Virginia. Last question, it's for the two of you. After a couple of tough losses, Texas could never get back the momentum that they had early in the season. This is last season. Now this season, is this going to be any different, or is it going to be the same 6-game losing streak that follows?
I think this Saturday is just an example of a banged-up team going on the road for the first time this season in a perfect storm of issues that worked against Texas's favor. DeMarvion Overshawn out for the first half, then Xavier Worthy goes down for the second half. Obviously no Quinn Ewers and a still hobbling Hudson Card. A defense that had 44 QB pressures yet only 1 sack and forced them into a 4th down try 8 different times throughout the game, but could only get them off the field twice. Texas has plenty of issues to work through, but a lot of it is going to come down to health and a few lucky breaks. When your Heisman hopeful running back fumbles in overtime after having an all-around great game, there's really not much you can do if you're Texas. This Texas team isn't the same as last year's. The health is going to improve. The sacks will start to add up as the year goes on. Texas arguably has the best running back room in the nation, and the Big 12 looks extremely unpredictable with losses early on to Oklahoma and Baylor. If Texas can get healthy and just start putting a couple of the puzzle pieces together, this team could turn it around very quickly.
I agree, Justin. This team is still very different from last year's. Even though they started out with an early Big 12 loss, there are just too many things that have changed from last season. The QB position is likely to be shifting between Hudson Card and Quinn Ewers. Meanwhile, the defensive changes for the season have already been felt drastically with Gary Patterson helping out on the coaching staff. I think the offense is already in a very good spot. Saturday may have been the worst we've seen Texas's defense play all season, but with watching a lot of film, you can expect the Texas defense to come back into the West Virginia game with the likelihood of not allowing as many downfield receptions where the linebackers are. I want to add to Jason's reference about injuries. With more rest and time, Hudson's ankle should be getting better every week, and so is Quinn Ewers. The team is hopeful that Worthy will be back for West Virginia also. I don't want to be that guy that overlooks the weekend's game, but if everyone can continue to recover, you can have strong hope for the Oklahoma game, not just West Virginia.
Well said, guys. Thanks for joining me.
All right, thank you guys for joining us tonight, Robert and Justin. When we return on College Press Box, we'll talk about the Longhorn volleyball team that's faced some struggles early, but have finished games strong. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on College Press Box.
Welcome back in the College Press Box. Now, Texas volleyball returned home on Saturday to battle the Oklahoma Sooners, with the top-ranked Longhorns looking to improve to 10-0 to start the season. Here's how things went down Saturday night at Greg Gym. Okay, first set, Texas 20, Oklahoma 16. A little bit of a rally here. Sooners fighting hard, but Texas would come back even stronger. Here is Zoe Fleck setting up the kill by Melanie Parra. Dang, that was vicious from Parra. Texas will take that momentum 24-20 here. End of the first set. Another deep rally here is the superstar Logan Eggleston. She will have the big spike to get the Longhorns the first set of the match. Here is the second set. Now Madison Skinner with a big kill on the assist by Sage Torres. This set would come to an interesting end as the serve from Sydney Thompson is an error. Texas takes the second set, up 2-0, 11 here when Taylor Preston on the assist from Peyton Chamberlain with the big time assist. Texas looking to close out the sweep of Oklahoma 24-16. It's Para one last time just for good measure. Horns improved to 10-0 on the year.
All right, thanks for that, Jason. Now I want to welcome in our volleyball analyst, Kylie Rodriguez. Kylie, thanks for joining us. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I love the pink jumpsuit, man. That's some drip right there. All right, let's talk about some Longhorn volleyball. They stay undefeated on the season and open up Big 12 play 2-0. Bit of a nail-biter against Kansas to start things off. Then they come back, sweep Oklahoma 3-0. Just a few days later, what's been the key to these two opening victories for Texas?
They have been playing great offensively and defensively. Opening conference play at Kansas, the Longhorns lost the 2 first sets but rallied back to win the other 3. In the beginning 2 sets of the game, they had too many errors, whether it be serving out of bounds or letting the ball hit the floor. The Longhorns just have to do what they did in the other 3 sets, which is to dominate the game. They do this by controlling the ball and not making many errors. In the second match of conference play, they won all 3 sets. They were able to control the game by having fewer errors and being great offensively. More specifically, they have been very good at winning the points in the rallies and getting aces when they serve. They still had some errors like not getting the ball after the player blocked and making sure they're not blocking right and not getting any penalties for that. And it doesn't hurt that they played a rivalry school in home.
Oh, yeah, certainly not, especially when the Sooners come into town. That's the biggest rivalry of them all. There's a lot of talent on this team for Texas. We've known that for years now. There's a good mix of returners this year and some new transfers joining in the program as well. So it's a little bit of a melting pot compared to last year. So when you look at this team, who has stood out so far, not only through the first other 8 games, but even these last 2 conference games?
Yes, of course. Asia Neal, in her first 2 conference game plays, she had a total attack percentage of 35%. She has contributed to some crucial points in the Kansas and Oklahoma game. Another player is Melina Para. She has helped the Longhorns come back in Kansas game by serving 4 aces to help the Longhorns close out the 3rd set. And she has been helping out on the attack with having a 30% total attack for Kansas and Oklahoma. Bella Bergmark, who has 13 total attack percentage in Oklahoma's game alone, helped Kansas with 3 total attack percentage. These are some of the players who have helped get kills and scored for the Longhorns.
Yeah, 3% total attack is a pretty good defensive number, I would think, in volleyball. Certainly, pretty good defense from the Longhorns. And speaking of good players for the Longhorns, arguably their best in Logan Eggleston has said that she stayed her 5th year because she wants to win a championship.
Yes.
The Longhorns have been right there, right on the precipice the last couple of years to doing that. What has to happen this year to get over that hump?
I think they have to keep playing as a team. The Longhorns can't afford to get complacent because that's when they start making errors. They also can't afford any injuries, especially towards Logan Eggleston, since she's such a big part of Texas winning games. Like at Kansas, she had her career high hits at 29. They need to play every game at their best. Now, I know they might not be undefeated forever, but they need to have as few losses as they can to have a high seed in the NCAA Volleyball Championship Series. The volleyball, they do well and repeat it every game. They tend to do better at home games. I would say they should improve on the road game play a little and have a few errors. And the good thing is they have shown they can win and come back on the road as they did with Kansas. They should have no problem handling business. This shows that they should have no problems handling business when it comes to the NCAA Volleyball Championship Series. The Longhorns also seem to want to win the championship with having this be Logan Eggleston's last year and falling 2 years in a row in the Elite 8 in the NCAA Volleyball Championship Series. They just have to continue bringing their all to every game.
They've been right at the finish line. Now they just need to cross the ribbon. Just got to cross it. Thank you so much for joining us, Kylie. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Now we're going to send it back to Jason at the desk. Jason?
Thank you for that, Tommy and Kylie. And when we return, get this, another Chicago native, Ethan Ferguson, will be here to recap Week 3 of the NFL season. I promise you won't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Welcome back into College Press Box, folks. You are witnessing TSTV history right now. For the first time ever, 3 Chicagoans on College Press Box. I'm from Mount Prospect. Jason, you're from?
I'm from Itasca.
And we're going to throw it over to the third member of our Chicago crew, Ethan Ferguson, who's going to break down this week and the past week of the NFL. Ethan?
Appreciate that, Tommy. And I know you didn't ask, but I am from Hinsdale.
Well, you finished off the line pretty well.
This past weekend, NFL fans were gifted with an abundance of quality football. Let's get right into it. Let's start the action in Miami, where both the Dolphins and Bills look to continue their undefeated season. On the first drive of the game, Allen moves around the pocket and barely misses the end zone off a scramble. On 4th and goal, it's Devin Singletary to score off the dump pass from Allen. And there's the dump pass right there. Later in the first, Josh Allen is stripped in the pocket, resulting in an opportunity for the Dolphins to get on the board. Chase Edmonds, in just a few moments, finishes the job, tying the game for the Dolphins. Going into the second quarter, Allen connects with Isaiah McKenzie to put the Bills up top. And there's that throw right there. And then coming back, Tua throws an absolute laser of a pass. Check this one out. To River Craftcraft, who makes a spectacular catch. After a made field goal from Tyler Bass, right through the uprights. Late in the third, Chase Edmonds regains the lead for the Dolphins in the fourth with his second touchdown of the game. Far back at their own territory, this Dolphins butt punt results in a safety, leaving the door open for the Bills. With no timeouts, the Bills make a run for it, falling just short of the field goal target line in this play right here, as Josh Allen steps up in the pocket, somehow gets the ball out of his hand, and as they try to get for it, it's nearly there, but they fall just short of the target line. With no time on the clock, the Bills will eventually end up losing 21-19 to the Dolphins. Next up, we go to Chicago for the Toilet Bowl, the Bears versus the Texans. Cairo Santos puts the Bears on the board first with a season-long 47-yard field goal. After a defensive stop, Fields hands the ball to Khalil Herbert, who finds a gap, breaks a tackle, and extends across the goal line for a Bears touchdown. Let's go. The following drive, Mills fakes the handoff and finds Jordan Atkins for his first touchdown in 2 years with the Texans. Not long after, Fields overthrows his receiver in the middle, resulting in yet another Bears interception right here. The Bears do in fact get their revenge, however, as a pass from Mills in just a moment is popped up and falls right directly into the hands of Eddie Jackson for the touchback. He did step out there, as you can see. Later on in the second, it's Dameon Pierce who regains the lead for the Texans with his first NFL touchdown. Closing out the first half, Cairo Santos nails this 50-yarder to put the Bears within 1. It's a miracle for Bears fan, no doink there. In case there weren't enough already, Fairbairn drills this field goal to increase the Texans' lead. After an impressive drive, Herbert gets the ball and pushes through the pile for his second touchdown of the day. After a big third down stop, the Texans get tricky by executing a fake punt to perfection. Lovie Smith bringing out all the tricks here. The drive doesn't result in a touchdown though, as Fairbairn puts a 23-yarder through the uprights. Now, a tie game, Fields looks to connect but is intercepted for the second time today, as he takes it all the way back for a decent game. Coming down in the clutch, Mills has a pass deflected and falls directly into the hands of Roquan Smith. Now in field goal range, Santos hits the buzzer beater to give Chicago the win. Now, up next, let's take it to New England, where it's the Ravens versus the Patriots. Lamar Jackson's open up the scoring with a shovel pass to Mark Andrews. The Patriots come back and get 3 of their own with a field goal from Nick Folk. That one looked right on the bullseye right there. Trying to increase their lead, Lamar heaves the ball down the middle, but is intercepted by Jonathan Jones, who gets up and takes it back for a decent gain for the Patriots. 2nd and goal now. Jones takes the snap, steps up, for an easy rush across the goal line, finishing it off with a gritty. Pretty impressive if I say so myself. Now, Lamar feeling some pressure. He takes a step back and throws off of his back foot, lofts it to Mark Andrews for his second touchdown of the day. The Patriots drive down the field with time diminishing to be within 1 at half. Starting the second, however, it's Damian Harris who bounces into the end zone. And then on the other end of the field, Lamar Jackson pulls off the fake and finds Josh Oliver for his first career touchdown in the NFL. 3 touchdowns from Lamar to different tight ends. Beginning to break free a little bit, Lamar again lofts a pass into the corner, and of course, it's our boy, Devin Duvernay, in the corner, who toe taps beautifully. Let's take another close look at that one. Look at him extend and grab that ball. That is just making Texas fans proud all over. Losing momentum, Jones step backs and throws the ball directly at a Ravens defender for the interception. Longhorn legend Justin Tucker cleans it up with an easy 56-yarder. The Patriots are able to get back as it's handed off to Ramondre Stevenson for the touchdown. Going for 2, it's Stevenson who's tripped up and tosses the ball to Jones, who somehow muscles his way across the goal line. This game is getting intense. Lamar now steps out of the pocket and finds Bateman, who can't hold on to the ball, giving the ball back to New England. Another decent gain there, a little scoop and run. This game is not over yet. Jones steps up and finds, oh wait, sorry, that is Humphrey. Humphrey picks off Jones in the corner there, but this game's not over. Jones steps up, finds Aguilar, who then gets tackled from behind and stripped and loses the ball back to the Ravens. To put the cherry on top, Lamar breaks free for his 5th touchdown of the day, this time rushing into the end zone. But wait, Tucker misses the PAT. This is something that you're not going to see every day, folks, so go ahead and let that one sink in. The game will come to an end at 37-26. What an action-packed weekend. And don't forget to miss tonight's game, Cowboys versus Giants. All right, back to the desk with my fellow Chicago brothers, Jason and Tommy. Jason, Tommy?
Thank you for being with us, Ethan. It was a pleasure for you to recap Week 3 action in the NFL. And when we return, we will recap the last week in Texas sports. You won't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
And welcome back into College Press Box. Let's talk some college basketball. The Big 12 released their men's basketball schedule for the upcoming season this week, and Texas has 3 straight Big Monday games. You heard that, 3 straight, starting at home on January 30th against Baylor, then back on the back-to-back road stops in Lawrence to play Kansas on February 6th, and Lubbock to face Texas Tech on February 13th.
We're going to take it to Texas men's swim and dive, who won their first ever intra-squad scrimmage this past weekend. It was the orange team facing off against the white team, and the orange team took home its first Sam Hendricks Memorial Orange and White Classic. Nice. I mean, it was a scrimmage of sorts for the swim and dive team. Orange team won. They will begin their season next week. Final score, 143-140.
All right, let's talk a little bit of men's cross country here. The men's cross country team finished 12th overall at the Cowboy Jamboree in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and senior Haftu Knight was the top Longhorn finisher at the event for the 2nd year in a row. He finished 24th overall with a time of 23 minutes and 50 seconds. That's 4 seconds quicker than his 7th place finish in last year's Cowboy Jamboree. That tells you how much better the competition's gotten.
So, believe it or not, a team from Texas that played Texas Tech this weekend actually won, and it was 25th ranked Texas Soccer. They took on Texas Tech on Sunday and won 2-0. Sophomore Trinity Byers scored both of the match's goals. That is her 6th career multi-goal effort. Senior keeper Savannah Madden recorded her 20th career shutout. Longhorns will take on Baylor at home this Friday.
Let's take a look at this week in Longhorn sports. And you mentioned on Friday, softball team hosts St. Mary's at 6 p.m., followed by soccer hosting Baylor at 7 p.m. You'll see that on the Longhorn Network. Moving on to Saturday, the women's tennis team will participate in the ITA All-American Tournament, and the track and field crew heads to San Antonio for the UIW Cross Country Invitational. Football ends the day with a 6:30 kickoff against West Virginia. That coverage will be out on FS1. On Sunday, the Texas volleyball team will look to avenge the football team's loss to Texas Tech as they head to Lubbock for a 2 p.m. matchup with the Red Raiders on ESPN.
Well, that'll wrap things up for this week's episode of College Press Box. Please do not forget to tune into our other shows this week, including College Crossfire on Wednesday, hosted by this guy.
Come on.
1-0 Sports Show on Friday. Another big thank you to our analysts. Great job by everyone on air tonight. Everyone in Master Control that does an incredible job. And as always, our executive producer, Samantha Pearl. Everyone else here at TSTV, I'm Jason Kinander. He's Tommy Yarrish. Thank you for joining us and have a great night.